Welcome to Leading Cigars. And today's review is the Room 101 Teuful Hund Connecticut. Play intro. So let's go ahead and take a look at this bad boy straight up. So it's a Connecticut wrapper, Ecuador seed or Ecuador grown Connecticut seed wrapper. It says it has a baño binder, and it's a secret sauce long filler recipe. Looking at the cigar, looks pretty sturdy. Smells pretty decent. This one doesn't have a lot of blemishes or anything. It's a really nice, well-made cigar. So we'll go ahead and give it a nice cut and a quick little draw. Has a nice draw. Get a little bit of that. That's what I'm looking for. A little bit of that peppery taste to it. So let's go ahead and while we're doing that, testing it. So. This is relatively new, at least I've never seen it before. Cigar, so from the 101 brand. It claims to have flavors of coffee and cream and chocolate inside it, in the cigar. And then, of course, you know, it's always got that habanero binder's gonna add a little bit of spice to you. So let's give it a few puffs, see where we are. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you I don't taste coffee and cream or chocolate, but there is some spice to it, more than pepper, kind of like I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a little bit more spicy than just pepper. It does have you know, it's pretty decent, smooth. It's very creamy texture to it. The wrapper's not bitter. There's not harshness or anything like that coming off it at first. So I'm liking it at the beginning. While we're sitting here, like I said, that, you know, it is called the Teufel Hund, which is a nickname for U.S. Marines that they earned in World War One. The Germans gave it to them at the Battle of Bella Wood. Means devil dog, actually means hounds of hell, but you know, Marines took it to devil dog. That's how I got there. Room 101 is the brand that sponsored the cigar, the Teuful Hund cigar. Matt Booth, who owns Room 101, is a former infantry Marine himself. And Room 101 is more of a, started out I think under jewelry, but it's more of a luxury brand, you know, luxury items and stuff like that. And then this, you can, in this case, they did the Room 101 Teuful Hund cigar. They have some other cigars that they do, but they don't specifically stick to cigars. There's 3 different versions of this particular cigar from Room 101. There's the Connecticut that we have here. There's a Maduro wrapper and a Habanero wrapper, which we will do on here. We'll review them as well at some point on here. So that's kind of the first impressions of it. I don't know if you can see it real well, but you got the Room 101 flower there, and you got the old bulldog for the wrap for there, and it also has over here on this side, if you can see it, No Mercy, and dog tags. I can tell there's an H. I can't see what the other one is. But the Connecticut's the blue one, the blue wrapper, or the blue ring. And I mean, the flavor's consistent. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you it's bursting with flavor or amazing. It's listed as a mild to medium smoke. So I would say to me it's more on the mild side. But being that this is my first cigar review video, let's kind of talk a little bit about, for first-time cigar smokers. That's really what this site or this channel is more about. Is when I first started cigar smoking, I knew absolutely nothing. I knew basically what I saw in movies on cigars, and that was kind of my thing. Was just that's what I knew. So I learned a lot over trial and error, and if I can help teach a few people things here and there, why not? And expand the joy of cigar smoking. So first, let's get a few more puffs into this, and then we'll be back at it to give you an update. Alright, so right about the halfway mark here. Flavor really hasn't changed much. Still spicy, kind of like I said, it's not really peppery, but kind of something spicy. I have started to notice, I'm not going to call it coffee and cream, but a little bit of a creamy, it's not really sweet either, but that impression of a sweetness is what I would say. No, it doesn't taste like a sweet cigar or like a Deadwood or something like that. It's just got that mild, it just feels kind of sweet. So, one thing we are going to talk about while we have some time here is, so if you're new to cigar smoking, like I said earlier, when I first started out, I knew nothing. I went and bought, cheap cigars, expensive cigars. I just couldn't figure out what was good and what was bad. And unfortunately, the tobacco places I went to, they weren't much help. Sometimes you had someone that knew a little bit. Most of the time, knew nothing. They were just there to sell some stuff. So, I bought a few books and I did some reading and, got online and joined some social media groups and everything, just kind of get my way in there. And, it's still a lot of, you have to understand cigars are subjective. Flavors that I like are not flavors that you're going to like. A cigar that I taste, chocolate and leather and whatever, you might taste nothing but tobacco, and crap tobacco at that. So just keep that in mind. I try not to get too much into the flavors. I'll list what the manufacturer says the flavors are supposed to be. I'll tell you about those. But I don't get too much into trying to describe the flavor, because that's my impression of the flavor. It's not going to be yours. Is it a good smoke? Is it a harsh smoke? Is it bitter? That's really kind of more of where I'm going to be going with these, because no one really did that with me. But if you're just starting out, of course, there's going to be the few necessities you have to have. You have to have some sort of humidor. Now, whether that be, your $500 cooler door, or your, $750 hold 3,000 freaking cigar humidors with, electric plug-ins and light-up displays and craziness. Hey, if that's the route you want to go, little desktop humidor, traditional wooden box, some humidipacks in there or whatever, and go about your day. Or if you want to go the Tupperware route, which is just a piece of Tupperware, put something in there for humidification, and there you go. My recommendation is, if you're just starting out and not really sure how much of this hobby you're going to get into, get a Tupperware, hold you a couple of cigars, and see where the hobby takes you. You might be a type of person that is really into the hobby, but you don't store a lot of cigars at your house. You go to a cigar lounge and smoke your cigars. And if that's the case, why store them? Buy them when you're there. So you don't have to worry about buying the, you don't have to worry about storing the cigars. But get Tupperware, get a Bovita pack if you really want to go super cheap. Get you some distilled water, a sponge, some little container from the dollar store. Drill some holes in it, put Tupperware in there, put a little bit of sponge water. It's better than nothing. You still need something to kind of hydrometer of some sort, but it's a starting point. I have right now just a small little humidor, holds about 100 cigars, and I'm lucky to keep it half full. Just start out slow there. Also, cutters that I have seen. There's really 3 types of cutters. You got your hole punch, you got your V cut, and you got your straight cut, usually from a guillotine or something like that. I don't like a hole punch. It doesn't mean you won't. I just don't like them. But I would at least get you a guillotine cutter and either a hole punch or a V cutter to start. Buy the cheap ones, $5 ones, $10 ones. Don't go buy a $37 freaking cutter. Buy the cheap ones first. Figure out what you like. I tend to smoke a little bit bigger cigars in general, as my personal preference. So on the bigger cigars, I'll generally go for a flat cut, just because I think it gives me a better draw than the V cuts. And plus, V cutter. See if I have one out here with me. Yeah, V cutter. A lot of times, the bigger cigars, it's hard to get them into the V cut to really make it. You can see there. You just got that little divot, and sometimes it's hard to get them in there. So I keep a nice little flat cutter. I use this more often than the V cutter. If I have a smaller cigar, I'll use the V cutter. Lighter. Again, lighters come down to opinion. You'll hear people say, "Oh, you gotta light your cigar with a torch. Oh, you gotta light it with a match. Use a soft flame. Never use a soft flame. Oh, you gotta take whatever lighter you want, light a piece of Spanish cedar, and then use that. Dude, whatever tickles your pickle, man. If you want to go through that process, if that's your ritual. That's the biggest thing. If that's your ritual of smoking a cigar, then that's your ritual of smoking a cigar. I generally use a torch, just a little, nothing special, little torch lighter. So that's what I generally use. But I have used, just a Bic lighter in a pinch. I've used matches. I have matches out here for some stuff. It just depends on what you want to smoke and how you want it to light. Experiment. The only thing I will say is don't use a Zippo, because the lighter fluid the Zippo uses, you can smell a Zippo from a mile away, and that is going to kind of have an impact on your cigar. It's just the lighter fluid. You can get, I've seen them, they're pretty expensive from what I've seen. You can get Zippo inserts that are torch. You use butane and everything. Again, if that's something you want to do because it looks cool, hey, all about it. It's the big thing about smoking cigars. It's about your enjoyment. You'll see people when you get into smoking. I see people that have no ritual whatsoever to their grab cigar, light cigar, smoke cigar. That's their ritual. And I have some people that it's put it down, get your beverage of choice. I won't say what's in mine. But you can probably guess. You might have 2 or 3 drinks before you smoke. You might want to have a drink, coffee, whatever, and then light your cigar. Some people pulling it out of the cellophane is a big thing, and how you put it and where you put it, how you cut it, doing the draw, doing the light. All of that is all part of their ritual, and that's part of your enjoyment of the cigar. It's the big thing about cigars for me is relaxing. This is my relaxation at the end of the day. And because of that, that's really how I get to my relaxation. So I don't go crazy. I do keep cellophane. If the cigar comes in cellophane, I'll keep cellophane on it. Uh, inside the humidor or anything, that's just what's recommended by pretty much everyone. So that's what I do. I'll usually take it off, especially like before these videos. I'll take it off just before I smoke it. But the cellophane, keep in mind it's cellophane, not plastic. It is on there for a reason. It does protect your cigar. It's breathable. It helps, especially if you have all sorts of different cigars in there. It keeps from getting somewhat of a cross-contamination, especially if you have sweets and non-sweets. But I just lazy and don't want to unwrap until it's time to smoke them. So there's that, but when you start out, don't focus on getting the cheap cigar or getting the expensive cigar or getting the middle of the road cigar. Just understand that when you're buying a cheap cigar, you're not buying a bad cigar. You're buying an inconsistent cigar. So what I mean by that is, the cheaper the cigar, the less the quality control. And the less they're trying to make sure that cigar always tastes the same. So every time you grab a cigar of that brand, it's going to be exactly the same. The more expensive you get, the more they're going for that effort. So like if I'm getting a Davidoff number 2, I expect that cigar to taste exactly the same as the last Davidoff number 2 that I had. I don't expect there to be any variance. If I'm getting a Overruns cigar from one of the discount sales online, I expect to pretty much have a wild ride on every one of those cigars. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it means this time I might get some really powerful flavors and a really good smoke. The next time I grab one of those cigars, it may be tunneling out, like there's no tomorrow. It may be, harshness and acidity, and that's just the nature of buying a cheap cigar. What you pay for when you pay for expensive cigars is the quality control and the aging and everything of tobacco. If you're paying $2 for a cigar, trust me, that cigar ain't been aged, but for however long it took to make the damn thing. Versus getting like a Perdomo or even up to Davidoff's, Gurkhas and stuff like that. Their cigars have been aged, and depending on which one you get, depends on the pricing, depends on how it's made. All that's there. So there are some really, really good cheap cigars out there. There's a lot of crap cigars that are cheap. But it's also inverse on the other way. There are some really crap cigars that cost a lot of money. But you tend to find consistency in those cigars as you pay more for it. So when you find something you like, if it's cheap, understand, I would say if you're paying less than about $5 a cigar, understand that you may never find that flavor in that cigar again. And again, prices change, things fluctuate all the time, different countries, different taxes, everything. So don't say, oh, $5 is the line. Dude, if I find a cigar for $2.10, I'll buy it and try it. Why not? What does it matter? Also buying in bulk helps. If you buy an 18-pack or a 20-pack or a box, those will that'll help you. You get cheaper price buying in bulk. Several of the online places, like if you buy 20 cigars or so, you'll be down paying like $2 and something a cigar. Usually, unless you're buying stuff like Olivia's and Opus X's and stuff like that. You're not going to get those kind of deals, but they're still cheaper. And like I said, my biggest thing to remember is that cigars are very, very subjective, not objective. Just because someone says this cigar is the best cigar they've ever had and you're going to love it, doesn't mean you're going to love it. Generally speaking, before I review a cigar, I will have smoked 2 or 3 of these. This is actually my 4th one of the Blue Bands, the Connecticut Seed. So, I've had it a few times. I've kind of seen, is there consistency in it? With these, seems to be pretty good consistency. With the flavors now. Now I've had a couple of them. Colors don't match that much. There's some blemishes on the wrapper. For me, that doesn't matter. One thing that I found that helps me helped me as a new smoker is I got a cigar dossier, is what they called it. It's a fancy word for book. Um, but it's just a book, and it has information in there, that you're going to put, every time you smoke a new cigar. The brand, the size, how much you paid for it, where you bought it, just some general information about the cigar, the wrapper, like I said, the ring size and that type of stuff. And, might even ask the last meal you had. And then it's got room for the notes, and it's got room to put the bands. So you can keep it, kind of keep your bands. And that really helped me. I kind of started looking at, not only brands that I tended to like, but it also helped me identify wrappers and fillers and stuff that, I particularly like, such as, I know I like Connecticut and Habanero wrappers generally, but just because the wrappers are Connecticut or Habanero, the filler inside could be complete crap and I won't like it. This one happens to be a Habanero binder on a Connecticut wrapper, so I pretty much guaranteed for me that I was going to like the cigar, and it really is really nice. But that doesn't mean that you're going to like it. That doesn't mean that anybody's wrong. And by having that book, I'm able to go back and look, and was able to start seeing trends in my cigars. I was also able to see, in some cases, how certain foods impact how I taste, or how and what I taste out of a cigar. I mean, to put it in an example, when I smoke a steak, or when I eat a steak, my cigar tastes a little bit different. You get certain flavors after eating that steak versus if I just had a bowl of ice cream or, cotton candy or something like that. When I have something sweeter, you tend to be picking up on sweeter flavors. And it depends, also, some people are just, everything has a sweeter taste to them. Some things don't. So, just keep that kind of stuff in mind. Coming down through the home stretch of this cigar here, I don't know if you can see. I'll try to get a little bit of... It does have a slight unevenness to the burn. That could be me talking and not really rotating my cigar properly. But it does. All of them tend to do this. A little bit on the unevenness. It's not bad, and it doesn't. I mean, it's manageable, but it is something to be aware of. Another thing, if you're new into cigars, looking at the scoring of a cigar, it really confused me to death. 91 to 95 and 97 to 22. What does any of that mean? The easiest way I look at it, what helped my brain anyway, was going to a 10-point system. So a 91 is a 9.1. That helped me. You don't have to do that if your brain functions fully functioning brain and aren't a brain damaged person. Maybe 91 makes sense to you. It didn't. I had to convert it to 9.1. Makes more sense to me, a 1 through 10 scale versus a 1 to 100 scale. That's just how my head worked. So let's take a few more puffs on this and see how it is on the home stretch. All right, so bringing it down here to the home. Now, me personally, some people, they'll smoke it as they put until it gets hot for them. Some people smoke until it gets to the ring. You quit whenever you want to quit. My personal opinion is, I paid for the whole cigar. I'm gonna smoke it till you burn my hands, because I'm cheap. So as we're coming down here to the end, like I said, this is really consistent flavor all the way through. Not really much of a change. As with everything, as you get a little bit closer to the end, it tends to pick up a little bit in strength, but also it will, you can start to get a little bit more of that harshness because, the smoke's not getting a chance to cool down before it gets to you. Got a little bit more of that unevenness again. I thought I had solved it on this one, but still just a little bit uneven. I do have a fan going out here because I live in South Georgia, and it's hot. So it's not bad. And for the price I paid for them, and full disclosure, I paid for these cigars. This is not a sponsored video, obviously. But for the price I paid for them, I bought them in an 18 pack. It came with the Connecticut, the Maduro, and the Habano wrap. 18 of them. For the price I paid of them, I would at that price make these an everyday smoke. I mean, if I was inclined to have one cigar to smoke every day. I do, in general, smoke one cigar a day. If I go out with my friends or have company or something like that, I'm prone to smoke 2 or 7. Oh, so good. But that's just me. I don't drink as much as I used to, but I will smoke a cigar like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna fix this because it's driving me nuts. And also, you can tell, they always say stuff like smoke 1 cigar per, or 1 puff per minute, to really enjoy your cigar or something like that. I can tell you, for me, I've been smoking this for coming up on 45 minutes. And I don't track my puffs. I don't keep, I'm here to enjoy the cigar. I'm here to have fun, relax, celebrate, hang out with people, whatever it is I'm doing, talking to you nice folks. It's whatever I'm doing. I'm not going to sit here, oh wait, I've had a puff, I must wait. Now, I say that with this caveat. There are times where I get to talking too much and get to puffing away on this thing, and I start feeling the heat inside the cigar. You are ruining your cigar at that point, and I will slow it down then. But generally speaking, I don't care. So yeah. Now, as we come here to the end of this review, again, let me get my notes out so I can see them. So this. So this is the Habano binder with a secret long filler recipe wrapped in an Ecuador-grown Connecticut seed. It's the Room 101's Teuful Hund in Connecticut. Haven't seen them for sale in a whole lot of places. Brick and mortars, I haven't found them anywhere. I had to get I got these only online. And I don't normally tell people where I get them because you can find them out there. And I don't. If someone wants to sponsor me, I'll recommend your website, but I don't right now. I don't recommend one over the other. I buy from several different places to include brick and mortars. Just depends on who's got what I want at the right price. What I will say is, generally speaking, I buy bulk cigars, boxes, 20 packs, 10 packs, wheels, whatever. I buy those online because I get a better deal. If I'm buying onesies, twosies, I'll go to a brick and mortar store if I want to try something or set something up for review. Just because that makes it a little bit. I like to support local, and I do occasionally go and hang out at a cigar lounge. Just a couple of them around me. And if I want that place to be there when I want to go hang out there, you got to buy cigars there. And I'm not talking about just buy. If I'm gonna sit there and smoke, I don't bring a cigar into that cigar bar. I go there, buy cigars, smoke cigars, and usually take 1 or 2 home. And if they sell alcohol, I'll buy a couple of glasses of something. Again, you never know what I would be drinking. But I got one more shot. hits the spot. So yeah, it's good. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is your pairings. Experiment. Coffee. You might like coffee with cigar. You might like coffee. Might not like your cigars with coffee. You might not like coffee at all. You might not drink bourbon. You might drink whiskey. You might drink beer. You might, for some god awful reason, drink gin. Whatever. Find the cigar that fits. Find that type of stuff that fits with you. And so that's going to bring it on home for us today. Thank you for joining me here at Legion Cigar Reviews. And, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join the Legion. And we'll see you next week for another cigar review.